Next story we're going to look at is an interesting one. Again, it's fairly short, but I think it shows one of the problems that I have with modern UFOlogy. So apparently, there was some KGB documents that the CIA got a hold of. Now, right there, I'm like immediately suspect about this story because it already sounds a little too James Bond-ish for me. But anyways, the CIA gets a copy of these KGB documents. All the articles I found said one of two things. One, President Mikhail Gorbachev, president of the Soviet Union at the time, believed that UFOs existed and more study needed to be done on them. And the UFO sites are like, see, look at this. President of the USSR believes in UFOs. And yes, everyone believes in unidentified flying objects. And yes, we should do more investigating on them to find out if it is a plane or a duck or a balloon. I don't think Gorbachev is saying, when he says UFOs are real, he's not saying aliens are real. And that's a problem I see with a lot of conspiracy sites. He's just saying, yeah, we don't know what they are and we should figure it out. And there's a huge leap there between that and they're coming from another planet. And I do believe in aliens, but, I've talked about that before on the show either. I don't think they come from other planets. I think they're from here. But see, that's the thing. I could quibble all day long with people who believe in crop circles and reptilians and Arcturians and Pleiadians and stuff like that. We can quibble about the details all day long. We're both idiots because we both don't have anything to back any of it up. I have my theories. They have their theories. But Gorbachev said that we should study UFOs, which I mean, of course, you have a giant country and you have a bunch of nukes and you're at war with another country. Of course, you want to know what's flying in your sky. But in your life, that's not the whole story, because that would just be lame. I wouldn't just cover that. I would just waste your time for 3 minutes talking about it. Also in these documents came a story of KGB soldiers facing a UFO. And again, the UFO sites are like, oh my God, it's proof. I'm going to read you the story. And if you've ever done any research on UFOs or aliens, or ever watched an episode of The X-Files, or got stoned and watched Ancient Aliens, whatever your information is on aliens, you tell me if this story sounds like any other event you've ever heard of. And the reason why I say that, because generally, if aliens are real, if I see a tiger in the woods, and 50 years later someone else sees a tiger in the woods, we're going to describe the same thing. We're going to be like, yeah, it's like a big cat, it has these stripes. If I see 8 penguins carrying a keg, I'm going to be like, oh, this is what they look like. There's 8 of them. This is what a penguin looks like. They had a keg. And then a couple years later, you see 8 penguins carrying a keg. Or just 8 penguins and a keg sitting there. You're going to go, those penguins are awfully long-lived. And then you're going to be able to describe to me the same thing. That's the problem with aliens and UFOs, is like they're constantly being described in different ways. And yet we're supposed to believe all of them. Anyways, I thought, debunk all that stuff aside, I thought this was a funny story. But again, it has nothing to, it's completely bonkers. The fact that any UFO site gives this any credence just diminishes the whole idea. They don't even know when this happened. I'm angry. I've realized how angry this story makes me. Because I had to read about it over and over and over again, and they're like, this is proof. And it's so funny because now that I realize, I don't really get angry that much on this show, or at least I don't show it. Anyways, undated event. In an unknown location. Proof. Remember, this is proof. This is being held up as proof. Somewhere in Antarctica. So maybe there are penguins with a keg. These KGB agents, for whatever reason, are in Antarctica. And they start to see these glowing lights. These red, green, and yellow lights in the sky. In one of the articles, it said, for an unknown reason, someone picked up a SAM. So surface-to-air missile. For an unknown reason, someone picked up a surface-to-air missile and fired it. Well, I'll tell you the reason why he fired it. It's not unknown. There's a big object floating around, flashing lights at you. And you're the KGB. You beat up shop owners. It's not like they're like, let's have a reasoned discussion with this orb. They're going to blow it up. They blow up everything. The KGB was like one of the most brutal secret police in world history. And they're like, I wonder why they did it. Because they're nuts. And also, they're in Antarctica. There's not a lot to do there. That's why the penguins have the keg. Anyways, so the KGB shoot down this craft of blinking lights, and it crashes. And then 5 aliens with large heads and large black eyes come out. And you're like, Jason, that is familiar. What are you talking about? Those are gray aliens. Everybody has seen those before. I've seen those in movies. Wait, hold on. Let me finish. The 5 aliens then merge Voltron style into a giant ball. So they go bleh, and like with 1991 Terminator 2 special effects. Bleh. Not even that. 1991 Lawnmower Man special effects. Bleh, and begin spinning around as a giant ball. I have never, in 30 years of researching UFO stuff, encountered a story where 5 gray aliens turn into a ball. If this story was real, then you encounter ball aliens constantly. Again, if it's real, it's real. And you would have common things among the sightings. The Roswell aliens weren't just all like their bodies just laying in the desert and then it's like liquid metal and they start bloop, 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 and turn. I've never heard that before. This is obviously made up and these websites, multiple websites, were running this story. It doesn't pass the smell test at all. Anyways, it gets stupider. It gets way stupider. So the ball's spinning around now. The alien ball is like, whoa, 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 whoa. It begins to buzz and hiss. I read that description a couple times. I'm going to try because I have the audio tools here. I'm going to record myself buzzing and hissing, and then we're going to lay it over each other and see what it sounds like. Okay, that's the buzz. Now we'll do a hiss. Okay, started to run out of breath on that one. So we have a buzz, we have a hiss. I'm going to layer them, and we'll see if it makes... Here's my theory, and I could be wrong, because I won't know until I edit this. But I'm going to predict that one sound so heavily drowns out the other that you wouldn't be able to tell it was buzzing and hissing. Unless it was like, bzz, hiss, bzz, hiss, bzz, hiss, bzz, hiss. And in that case, it's just Skrillex. Like, in that case, whatever. But anyways, it's buzzing, it's hissing, and it's brilliant white. You're like, I can't see, even though I'm in Antarctica and everything's white. This hurts their eyes. And again... because that's not dumb enough. Multiple websites reported the story. The ball of aliens then goes, bzz. There's 25 soldiers, 25 KGB agents standing here. 23 of them turn into something. Now, here was the difference I found between the websites. One of them said they turned to limestone. They're just, bzz. And they basically either turned into statues of people made of limestone, perfectly carved, you can see their badges, or they just became like clumps of limestone. 2 other websites I saw had a complete... Okay, and when I read that, I was like, I'm talking about this, and that is straight up stupid. I gotta talk about this, but that's stupid. It turns them into limestone. The other 2 websites said, and I still can't figure out where they got this from, stone poles. Now, when I think of a stone pole, I think of those things outside of like grocery stores and Walmarts to keep you from ramming your car into the store. You know, those big, basic stone pylons. Are they saying that these people became those? Are they saying they became like perfect cylinders of cement? What's a stone pole? Just say stone if they became lumpy. Or stone pole, I guess, if they actually became like a cylinder of stone. And then the 2 remaining KGB agents covered them with big yellow plastic covers so cars wouldn't know not to crash into them. They just left them there in Antarctica. And the 2 remaining KGB agents call up the Russian people and said, hey, I know that you're thousands of miles away and we're in Antarctica, but apparently our phones work. And the government came and got the limestone/stone poles and they locked them up in a secret warehouse. The end. Okay. Then what? These are documents from the KGB. So it's not a story that just one of the survivors told. The document, if these are real KGB documents, they should be able to say, Day 7. We continued testing on the stone poles. We realized you could drive a Subaru into them and they wouldn't crack. Testing will continue tomorrow. These are KGB files. They'd have access to the whole history of these stone poles. Is there a warehouse that you can't drive a forklift in because there's a bunch of stone poles randomly in there? It's made up. It's obviously made up. It's funny because I give far more credence to the idea that Coney cast a voodoo spell on a guy than this. Yet, this story I found across multiple websites, and I had to dig a bit for the Coney story. And like I said, TMZ reported it, and then I think someone else picked it up. That's stone poles. Aliens that can merge into a big old object. But, there are people, it's proof, because this article has the words KGB, CIA, and Gorbachev in it. It's proof. The state of, I'm sorry I'm ranting, but the state of paranormal investigations and conspiracy in the world right now is in dire need of some rational thinking. And I'm not the one to deliver it because I can barely string two words together. The only reason why any of this makes sense is because I have to edit it. If you stood in front of me and I had to talk about this stuff, you'd be like, why do you keep saying cut right in front of me? But, come on, guys. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.